It's time to up pot our peppers. Let's get to it. There's been a lot of planting that's been done, and there's been a lot of plants that have also died, but that's typical. And it's part of the reason why I start so early. There tends to always be some type of oddball malfunction where I lose some of my plants, and quite honestly, I'm over it, but I can't seem to get over it. So today we're going to be up potting some of our peppers, and I'm going to show you just the technique that we use. I believe I have posted this somewhere before, but just for fun, let's do it again. I'm going to be doing just a tad bit different this time. I have these pots that Brian had gotten ready for me to do some planting in a little while ago, and they've been sitting outside. They've gotten rained on, snowed on, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be pouring this dirt back into this pan here. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna put these pots aside. I'm only going to be up potting with you today our True Heart peppers, although we have a lot more that need to be potted up. I am waiting for some pots to arrive in the mail, and they seem to be delayed. So I don't have as many as I thought I would have for this purpose. But also, by doing this, I'm going to free up these trays for some more planting that also needs to be done. So normally I would put Athena, hi, how are you? Yes, it's good to see you. Can I get back to the video now? Can I get back to the video now? Brady wants to play with you. No kisses. Go play. Normally, I would just put the... no ma'am. Do not do that. We don't dig in the front yard. You want to go back to your house? You want to go back to your house? I would put the dirt in the cup, right? I put it about a little bit in like that, and then I would put like a tablespoon or so of our granular fertilizer, which I usually do at up potting, and then I would put the plant, a little bit more dirt, and then the plant. Today, I'm going to be mixing some of the fertilizer in with this soil here, and then potting up. So let me go ahead and get my gloves on, and then we'll be back to get that started. Okay, so the instructions say I'm just reading it for you. The instructions say 2 tablespoons per gallon of soil in the pot. So that's not what we're doing, first of all. Second of all, I barely follow those instructions. I've kind of gotten used to using fertilizers that are not going to burn my plants, and the organic fertilizers tend to be a lot easier on the plants, a lot easier for them to uptake that nutrition as well. So the ones that I've used so far anyway. I'm sure there's always an exception to the rule out there. Okay, so I'm just mixing that up. All right, that's what it looks like. It's very moist, like I said, from the rain. So I probably won't even water these. I'm just making sure all the clumps are out too. So here are the True Heart peppers. Look at that little tiny one. Like these 4 big ones and then that little baby. Another reason why I'm only doing these is I need more labels. I've been reusing a lot of labels. But the ones that I'm down to now have already been reused. And so there's like really no space, you know, left. So this is what the bottoms of these pots look like, or these cells. So I can literally just kind of like stick my finger up through the hole there and push it out like so. All of my plants at this point have been planted in the bootstrap farmer. Wow, can't I say that? The bootstrap farmer cups, cells, trays, all of those. And I've just about completely moved over to them 100%. I have a few random items left, but I really do appreciate the quality of theirs, all except the clear ones. And, you know, I don't know what it is about the clear ones and the white trays. They just haven't held up. The clear ones at all. The white ones just not as well as all the other colors. So I know it sounds crazy. I'm not prejudiced, I promise. But the colorful trays that we got for our microgreens have done amazing. A couple of those white ones have chipped, but most of those have been pretty good. The deeper 10-20 trays that are white, a good bit of them were done for in the first year. I think I have 2, 4. I bought 10. So I think I have 4 or 5. So about half of those that are still in good shape. So just FYI, if you're looking to get the Bootstrap Farmer, unless they have changed, which I did notice they had some new designs out. So whatever that flaw was, it may be corrected by now. All right. This is so simple. I don't think I said it, but when I put the dirt in, I do kind of press down a little bit. I don't want to compact it too much, but the reason why the air prune trays work well is because anytime the roots come out, they hit the air and then those roots die off. So roots and air are not a good combination. And so anytime you're up potting or even planting into the ground, you're going to want to make sure you tamp down the dirt, the soil, compost, whatever you're using, well enough to eliminate air pockets, because air pockets are a no-no for roots. Some plants like more compaction than others. I found brassicas, specifically the broccoli and cauliflower, they tend to like to be really, really, really tamped down. Like they like the soil around them kind of compacted. I don't know if there's any science to that or not. So these peppers, I planted peppers too early last year. And as a result, when I say planted, I mean set out like into the high tunnel. And on top of that, I think the area where I planted them just wasn't great. So I don't even know if I'm going to plant them in the high tunnel at all this year. We put up shade cloth last year. We did get it up a little late, but despite that, our best peppers were out here in the front yard in one of our garden plots. And so I'm wondering if that's just a nice, polite request from the peppers to be planted outdoors instead of in the high tunnel. So I'm still on the fence about that. Also, because I'm on the fence about that, I think I may have started one type of hybrid pepper for the high tunnel, and that was the glow pepper. And I have to look at that tray and see how well it's doing now. We had didn't have great germination, and then I redid it, and I don't know exactly how it's doing now. But if it's only like 1 or 2 that are doing good, or even, I'd say even 6, I would need probably at least 12 for me to clear a space in the high tunnel for them specifically. So otherwise they will be outdoors as well. All right. So we've talked about peppers in previous videos. Oh, this is a nice size one here. But I just want you guys to remember that peppers do well with afternoon shade. So when you are planning your garden plot for 2026 for the spring and summer, make sure that you're giving your peppers some shade between, in our yard, usually between the hours of like 11 a.m. to like 4. They need partial shade at least. This is the case the hotter it gets. Now earlier in the spring, mid-spring, you know, when the temperatures are mid 80s, you're good. But when those temperatures start to creep up in the early, low 90s and above, they're going to need some shade. If you don't have natural shade in an area, you can create it kind of like we do in the high tunnel by just putting some posts up and putting some shade cloth on top. That's going to get you some nice shade for those plants. But just make sure that when it's early in the morning, that they're getting that nice early morning sun and that late evening sun full on. So it will require some effort to go back and forth with it, but it's worth it. Now, we cut back our lemon trees this year. Last year, you saw the video on that, Terry doing that for us. And so I don't think there's going to be as much shade in that area where the peppers did so well last season, but I think it is enough. I think it is enough. So I'm going to continue to hope that it's enough, because I was so, and if you'll remember, even the ones that were in the middle of the yard, they had the shade from the Kiwano melons. And that was this particular one that I'm planting here, that I'm uppotting here. This is the True Heart NR. They did phenomenal over there. Now, it was a little bit of a challenge getting to them and all of that leafy forest that was in the trellis, but it was absolutely beautiful. And it was nice to see the plants doing well together. Later in the season, as the Kiwano melon started to look bad or whatever, I did notice that there was some issues with aphid, but they didn't seem to be bothering the peppers so much because they were more interested in the Kiwano. So it just worked out really well. The tomatoes didn't like that area so much though. So we'll keep planting and observing and noting our finds at the bee. You know, he's looking for food. I know it, but please don't sting me. Go that way. He's just not. Oh. Okay. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, it got warm for a couple of days. Actually, it wasn't a couple of days before the bees and the mosquitoes were out. The bees and the mosquitoes and the flies, everybody. The bees, you know, we cool. I'm fine with that. But it's the rest of them that be getting on my nerves. Mosquitoes. They was out in December. It's just February. Like, are we gonna actually get a break? Roots aren't as developed as they normally are. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with this soil. They have been fertilized. Oh, that's what I was going to say. These plants are generally, my plants are generally fertilized whenever they get their true leaves, and like every 2 weeks from that point. Unless it's something that I'm working really, really hard to get up to size so I can get it into the ground, like I should be doing with the tomatoes. In that case, I fertilize like every 3 days or so. And it's just like a fish emulsion, nothing major. But it does wonders for root development and whatnot. So this plant food that I'm using here by Whitney Farms it'll feed up to, I think, 6 weeks. So by then, these should be going into the ground. And I almost always fertilize at setting out as well. So these should be good until that point. One more, and this is that tiny one, so I'm gonna put more dirt in than I did the rest of them. Obviously this one could have stayed in the tray if I didn't need those trays for something else. And that, my friends, is that. So, in review, what do you need to know about up-potting your plants? Number 1, fertilize them. Number 2, make sure you're up-potting when your plants are large enough to withstand the potential shock that it may give. In our particular case, our root system was not as developed as I hoped it would be, and as they usually are. But we went ahead and transplanted anyway because the plants were pretty good size. So we're going from this size cell to this cup. Yeah. Number 3, make sure that you're tamping the soil down good. This is also the case when you're planting seeds. You're going to want to make sure there's good seed to soil contact and no air in between. Remember, air and roots, bad combination. And number 3, make sure that your fertilizer will feed your plants the appropriate amount of time, and be aware of what that time is. In our case, it's going to be 6 weeks, and by 6 weeks we will be setting our plants out into the ground, and at which point we will also be feeding again. I hope that you learned something from this video. Do you have any questions about seed starting, up-potting, or anything like that? I know a lot of times I do tend to kind of just talk and get things done, but that's kind of the way Mom taught me. She would do things in the garden, and she would be teaching life lessons, how to deal with boys, how to build your self-confidence, how to deal with peer pressure. And all of that just came while she was just digging in the dirt. And so for me, I am the same way. I just tend to talk it out. And hopefully in that conversation, you'll learn a few things. Thanks for watching. And I hope that these tips will help you to grow big from home this 2026 growing season. Catch you in the next video.